Many people struggle with this idea of law of attraction. And in particular, what they struggle with is when they have a desire and something shows up in their life that seems to reflect that desire. And then whatever it is that shows up turns out not to fulfill on the desire. And we lose hope or we get frustrated with the universe. I'm going to talk to you in this episode about what's occurring there and how you can actually navigate through it. And it's a natural part of the manifestation process. And this is whether you want to generate your next high-paying client and you run into somebody who's very excited to work with you and then it turns out they're broke or they don't have the funds or they ghost you. So you get really excited because it's like, oh my God, I had just been asking the universe for a new high-paying client and then it turns out not to be the case. That could be the same thing with finding a soulmate partner. It could be the same thing with improvement in your health. You feel better for a couple of days, and then all of a sudden you feel worse with your chronic health condition or your autoimmune disease. It could be in any instance of our life. We have a goal that we want to achieve. Life seems to start lining up in order to fulfill on that desire, and then everything falls apart. What happens? What's going on? Because when we don't understand this, it can become very frustrating. And as this pattern repeats itself time and time and time again, now we've got a whole body of evidence or a history to justify the fact that this thing is never going to work out for us, that we're never going to be able to grow our business, that we're never going to meet the person of our dreams, that this relationship will never resolve, that this health challenge will never resolve. And then we get stuck because the brain is a goal-achieving machine and what you believe becomes your reality. So I want you to understand the mechanics of what's going on here, because when you do, you can actually powerfully navigate through these specific circumstances and instances in your life. Not long ago, when Carol and I were first starting our business, it was just us. We added on another team member who was sort of an operational manager. But Carol was doing all of our marketing automation. She was building all of our landing pages. She was creating all of our email campaigns. My wife decided that, hey, if we were going to go out and share our mission with the world, somebody needed to take on the role of digital marketing. And she took on that mantle for a little while. But then it became time for us to find someone to replace her. And so we had set an intention that we were going to find a fantastic marketing agency or consultant to work with. We ended up going to an event where I was learning how to speak. At that event, there was a vendor who was a sponsor that did exactly what we needed. They built landing pages, they built email marketing campaigns, they knew how to run webinars, and so we engaged with this agency. So we were very excited. It was like, wow, I can't believe this. It was just 2 or 3 weeks ago that we made this decision that we were going to find the perfect partner. These people felt really aligned. We liked them. They made some big promises, most of which they were incapable of delivering on. And it became very, very frustrating for us. They were poor in their communication. They were poor in their execution. There were all kinds of challenges, broken links, email campaigns that were going at the wrong time. And so we eventually brought this back in-house and Carol started managing it again. So we held the intention, even though it was a little bit frustrating, that we would find someone who could take over our marketing automation efforts. And through somebody who I had developed a relationship with, we got a referral. And we got a referral to an independent consultant who had a fantastic resume. She had worked with a lot of the big names in our industry. It was a little more than we were planning on investing in terms of a monthly retainer, but we did it. And it was like, oh my God, this is so perfect. And it comes from a trusted resource. And this has got to be the one. And it feels really aligned. Same situation and scenario, right? Poor execution, poor communication, lots of big promises, lots of underfulfillment. And so this started to really create frustration for us. And we noticed that we had this belief that like maybe we're never going to find someone, or maybe we're doing something wrong, or maybe there's some limiting belief here that we need to clear out, that we believe that in order to do it right, we need to do it all on our own. And then we went to another event. We went to a Frank Kern. For those of you who know Frank Kern, he's like an old school internet marketer, and he did a 2-day masterclass or in-person implementation to build sophisticated marketing campaigns. And the guy who ran his intensive did a fantastic job, was brilliant. He and his family had built one of the biggest marketing automation systems that's used today for companies like ours. And we had this thought, which is like, man, it would be amazing to get a guy like this. Well, we left that intensive and we went through another year of trying to find the right person. Every time it seemed like it was aligned, came through some form of synchronicity or coincidence, didn't end up working out. And so finally I said, geez, about a year later, maybe we should call that guy who ran that marketing automation implementation, the guy that runs Frank Kern's business, and see if he's got any referrals, because this is really frustrating. We're feeling like, we're going to give up every time we get really excited that the universe is aligning and bringing us the right resource, and it never turns out to be the right one. And so we reached out to this guy. His name is Brett Martineau, and had a conversation with Brett. And I said, look, this is what we're creating in our business. This is the help that we need. Do you know anyone who might fit this role? And he said, well, I'd be interested in throwing my hat into the ring. And so we had further conversations and interviews with Brett, and Brett's been with us for, I don't even know how long it is now, for 5 years. He's been one of the most amazing talent acquisitions for our organization, and he's one of the most incredible human beings in the world. And I look back on that close to 1.5 to 2 years of looking for this resource, and I realized something very, very, very important that I want to share with you. Every time we met a new consultant or met a new agency, they had a little bit more of the qualities that we were looking for. And they had certain flaws or characteristics that were problematic that helped Carol and I get even clearer on ultimately who we wanted, who would be a perfect fit for our organization. And so as we went through each of those circumstances and situations, we got clearer and clearer and clearer and fine-tuned and fine-tuned and fine-tuned until we got to a point that we found literally the perfect person in Brett Martineau. And so when you're going through these iterations of the universe lining things up to bring you what you think you want, but then when you experience that thing, it's not actually what you wanted, or it's got some problems with it and it doesn't work out, it's important for you to know that this is actually a natural fine-tuning process. The universe is bringing you the best of what you understand right now in terms of what you need, and is guiding you along a path towards finding the perfect solution, whether it's a health solution or a business solution or a relationship solution or a wealth solution, in order for it to finally materialize. But if you get too attached to a different stage of the process as it's unfolding, thinking that this was supposed to be the thing when it was never supposed to be the thing, it was supposed to be a part of the calibration process, that's when you get stuck, because you will misinterpret that moment and start to believe that you're never going to find this person or solve this situation. And now all of a sudden you move down a different potential, you move down a different path, you create an alternate dimension where your problem can never be solved because that's what you believe. So what I'm sharing with you today is really, really important, because it will allow you to navigate through the iterative process of the materialization ultimately of what you do want without unconsciously moving into resistance to the process itself. And we teach a very, very important formula. I believe if I could distill all of personal growth or spiritual growth or materializing your dreams or achieving your goals down into just one sentence or one equation, it would be this: desire plus non-resistance equals desired result. If you can have a desire, like we did for someone to run our marketing automation, and be in non-resistance, you will open up the pathways to realize that desire as rapidly as possible. When you're in non-resistance, you will have thoughts and ideas that will be inspired, that you will take action on. You'll have hunches and intuition, and you will be pursuing the most efficient path towards the desired outcome. However, if you create an expectation that this part of the process should be the end result, you move back into non-resistance. In other words, you can think about the journey to the outcome that you desire as chapters in a book. And if you get to chapter 5 and believe that the book should end there, when your book has 23 chapters on it, you'll get stuck in chapter 5. You can't move on to the next chapter. If you're in non-resistance, however, you'll naturally move through the entire process. At the same time, when you're in non-resistance, and this is a metaphysical concept, a vibrational concept, you're vibrating or resonating or emitting a frequency. Your thoughts and your emotions are very aligned. that start to align the external world in an efficient way as well. This is how you create coincidences and synchronicities. You meet specific people. You show up at the same time. You create the timing of your life. You do that efficiently in non-resistance. And the mistake that people make is that while they get very, very excited about how thoughts become things and you create your own reality, and then you have a desire to have something materialize in your life, and then things start to line up that seem like they're lining up to produce the result when they're just lining up to produce the next chapter, not the end result. And you think it should be the end result, you move back into resistance. You move back into resistance through the thoughts that you have. Oh, see, this doesn't work out. It never works out for anybody. Oh, see, this thoughts become things, law of attraction concept doesn't really work, or it only works in some areas of my life, but it doesn't work in others. And the thing, as Henry Ford supposedly said, is the man who thinks he can and the man who thinks he can't are both right. So if you believe that, that becomes true for you. You literally start to structure a dimensionality within your reality. You move into one of the infinite possibilities of your life where things don't work out for you, where quote unquote law of attraction doesn't work. Ironically, it is working because it's working in the fact that you believe it doesn't work, and so it doesn't seem to work. And so this understanding of the natural process of iteration is very, very important. And another way of articulating this is when you experience something that's a problem, it's not really a problem. It's just part of the process of the solution unfolding. A way that I like to articulate this to my coaching clients is that whenever you experience a problem, there's an even better solution that's coming right behind it. Hey, it's David. Quick interruption to your regularly scheduled podcast episode. I want to let you know about an opportunity to go even deeper into this work together. If you have not yet, please check out the show notes. In there, we've got links to both our Mind Hack and our Whole Human Framework programs. Our Mind Hack course is an incredible framework. It's the foundation of everything that I teach on this show to help you understand how to become deeply aware of the subconscious programs that are holding you back, and to teach you the technologies and frameworks to allow you to dramatically transform those belief systems and rewire your brain. Again, the Mind Hack program is our 7-day self-paced program. We also have our 12-week course, The Whole Human Framework. And we've got both of them right now bundled in a special offer for those of you who want to go big, want to go fast, and who understand that you don't want to put off another day of your full potential or holding on to unnecessary stress, anxiety, or suffering, but you want to be liberated from these habits of thinking and have a powerful living experience. Check out the link in the show notes. Jump on over to the website. Take a look at the programs and the extraordinary success stories of entrepreneurs just like you who have gone through these courses, and I will see you on the other side. And now, back to your regularly scheduled podcast episode. And when you can learn to relax through the understanding that this thing that's showing up that I didn't expect is not a problem, and that there is even an even better solution coming right behind it, now all of a sudden you move in the flow that is optimal for materializing the results that you want. I had this happen recently. We have decided to rebuild our sales team because the business is just really exploding as a result of this podcast and you, and becoming a part of our community and wanting to go deeper into this work by enrolling into our digital courses and then moving into our coaching programs and coming to our live events. And it's been fantastic. So thank you. We've decided to bring the sales team back because our business was in a contraction for a little while. I had retired the sales team a couple of years ago. Now we're building the sales team again. So I reached out to one of my former salespeople and said, hey, this upcoming month, I'm going to have a bunch of really amazing people who are going to want to get on the phone with you because they're buying our digital courses or they're booking, a free consultation conversation. Can you do calls? And she said, yes, I can. I said, great. So as she starts to have these calls, now I'll start to rebuild the sales team. I'll look to hire some more salespeople. I'll look to hire a sales manager. So she starts taking calls. And at the same time, I set an intention to find a sales director. And so through a friend of mine, I met this guy about 6 months ago. We've been having conversations, exploring ways that we can work together. Everything seems to be aligned. We start getting into the details of what this position entails and what the compensation is. We had conversations about it before I shared with him all the details of this job description. I have a call with him. Then I bring my wife, Carol, in to have a call with him because she's president of the company. And everything looks like it's moving in the right direction. And then all of a sudden he gets back to me and says, hey, I'm going to require significantly higher compensation than what this position entails. And I was like, I don't understand. I was so excited. I've got my new salesperson coming on board. I thought this guy would be perfect for a sales director. We checked all the boxes moving forward. We talked about this. And now all of a sudden he's coming back saying it's not in alignment. It's like, well, man, what did we have all these conversations for? And I was like, oh, I guess the universe, wasn't really working here for me. Same day that I have this conversation with him, my one salesperson emails and says, hey, I'm sorry, but I have a family emergency. I don't know how long it's going to be, so I'm out for now. And now I've got a full schedule of enrollment conversations that we're supposed to have. People we're meant to support. I don't have a salesperson. I don't have the sales director. And I noticed that old thought process kicking in, focusing on the problem. I've got a problem. And then I realized, wait a minute, this is just a chapter in the story. Life is always working for my greatest growth, my greatest prosperity, and my greatest evolution. That must mean that my higher power, or God, or Jesus, or Allah, or the universe, whatever you want to call it, that has optics into my future, that can see my life and everything around it from a bird's eye view, that knows that I have a desire, that is working to organize all the cooperative components in order for my long-term desire to be fulfilled while giving me an opportunity to spiritually grow and learn how to relax and have more faith. This must be part of that process. I know that there's an even better solution coming right behind these problems if I just relax. And so I relaxed. Literally 2 hours later, I get a Facebook Messenger from a husband and wife couple that runs a sales staffing organization that's been in my community for years, that knows my work. And they send a message that says, hey, just curious, are you looking to build your sales team? And I responded and said, oh, in fact, I am. I have an immediate need for a salesperson, and I'd like to bring on more salespeople over the next few months. And I have an immediate need for a sales director. Are you asking because you want to staff for us, or are you asking for yourself? The husband gets back and says, I'm asking for myself. I'm looking for a sales manager position, and I love your work, and I could do a fantastic job building and leading the team. And then he says a bunch of other stuff that's very much in alignment with what I'm looking for out of someone who would take on that position. Now, I don't know if this is another chapter in the story or if it's the last chapter of this story. But what I can appreciate is the moment I thought I had a problem, an even better solution was already on the way. This individual had already been thinking about reaching out to me, and the timing of it aligned 2 hours after I lost my salesperson and realized that the person that I thought was going to become my sales director is not the right fit. And what I appreciate most of all was, even though it was 2 hours, in the midst of those 2 hours, I didn't panic. I knew that an even better solution was behind these perceived problems, which means that these perceived problems aren't really problems at all. When we can just relax through the transitions of the materialization of the outcomes that we want, when we can experience those moments where we thought it was the last chapter and instead realize that they are life's way of understanding even better what it is that we want, because we experience them and there are aspects of it what we like and then aspects of it that we don't. And life goes, okay, got it. Thanks for reiterating or clarifying your order for us. We'll work on the next version. And then the next version might need some fine tuning. Life says no problem. Immediately working on the next version. So this allows us to operate, most importantly, from a place of faith, from a place of calm, from a place of joy. It allows us to operate in non-resistance. And when we do that, everything begins to unfold in an efficient order. When we don't understand this distinction, that behind every problem is an even better solution, and oh, by the way, it's already on the way, and then we contract. We move into what we call a primal state. You move into the sympathetic expression of your nervous system, fight, flight, freeze. You're not available to receive the next chapter because you're stuck in the current one, trying to solve it, trying to fix it, operating from stress, anxiety, overwhelm, and not creating any space. Notice that what we do is we start to suffocate the problem rather than relaxing and allowing life to co-create the solution with us. So on one hand, you get nothing but frustration, stuckedness, and more of the same problem. On the other hand, you get it all. You get to relax, you get to be in flow, you get to spend time with your family, you don't have to suffocate the problem, you make room for the solution. You're not putting stress on your body or taxing your system. You're spiritually connected. And every time you do this, you build more evidence for the fact that life is always working for your greatest growth, your greatest prosperity, and your greatest evolution, versus judging too soon and moving into a different belief system, which is it never works out for me. And that belief of it never works out for me, simply by misunderstanding the process by which it is working out for you, is what keeps people stuck. Because the brain is a goal-achieving machine. Like Gandhi said, the mind is everything. What you think, you become. And so our beliefs are so powerful. Not just your beliefs about yourself, your beliefs about money, your beliefs about your business, your beliefs about your health, but these macro beliefs, like even what we believe about the unfolding process of materialization, is very, very important. If you want to go deeper into this idea of desire plus non-resistance equals desired result, and you're watching on YouTube, you can just scroll to one of my earlier episodes. You'll see that equation on the thumbnail. And if you're listening on one of your favorite audio platforms, I believe it is episode 2, 3, or 4. You'll be able to tell from the title. But this is an important equation to master. And I just appreciate you being here, because in each and every episode here, I get to remind you of the certainty of the goodness of the future. And the way that I'm able to do that is to share with you what I've learned about how the process of our life is unfolding, how our health is unfolding, how our relationships or our business is unfolding, and making sure that we have right thinking around these processes. See, nobody ever taught this to us in school, and so we just sort of adopted the conclusions of people who had no idea how this was working. And some of those people had ideas like, well, I'm part of the unlucky club. Things just don't work out for me. Or, you have to work really, really hard to produce the results that you want. And that's not to say that we don't take action. Of course, action is a part of the process. But we need to take intelligent action. And we do that through intelligent alignment and observation of how reality is unfolding around us and our part in that co-creative process. And so, today I wanted to share what I think is a really, really powerful distinction. And that is this idea that when something is showing up that you've been wanting and desiring or intending, and it's not showing up in the way that you expected, that's okay. Relax through it. Know that it's a chapter in the story. Know that behind this problem is an even better solution, and allow that solution to emerge. How do you do that? You don't freak out. You step away from the problem. You don't start saying unintelligent things to yourself like it never works out for me, or see, I knew that there's no good ones left, or whatever other internal negative affirmation that you might move into. Instead, move into being present and aware of the fact that this is a natural unfolding. And as you simply step away and enjoy your life and allow it, the next step will become absolutely clear. And 99% of the time, that next step doesn't actually come from you. That next step comes to you. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. If there's somebody that you think needs to hear this, absolutely please share it. If you're following along on the platforms, subscribe, leave me a comment, leave me a review. This is the way that we can get this work out to more and more people and bring even more people like you into this community, so that together we can have a powerful living experience. I love you so much, and I will see you in the next episode. Hey, it's David. Hop on over to davidbear.com. Click right here. There's also a link in the show notes, and sign up for our newsletter. You'll get immediate access to my free Mind Hack ebook, as well as a couple of trainings to help you master the inner game. This is a great way to stay informed and be a part of our community and be notified of special announcements. Click below, head on over to the website, get subscribed. If you loved this video, make sure you check out this one or this one, and I will see you in the next video.